for life.
Sweet.
All right. So you're judging 3 different categories.
Yeah.
What are the categories?
I'm judging solo, I'm judging loop, and I'm judging founders. So solo, normal, loop, loop station, and then founders is the international one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does that get seeded? Is it the individual first, and then the individual gets seeded into the international?
No. So it's actually all one event. So basically, with American Beatbox, they have like so it's a national champs, but they actually have an international tournament as well, so that like people come in from like can support internationally and stuff. It's pretty.
That's smart and good.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's important to. It's interesting for a couple of reasons, right? Mr. Wobbles talked about this, about people giving like bias to the people of the similar nationality, and that kind of, I think that's kind of inevitable, right? Because like especially most of the beatbox community, I'm hesitant to say in person because we just talked about this on Instagram, but like, there is a large portion of the community that is very in person. So I think separating the categories by nationality makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's like it's because how they're doing it is like they have their national champs, that's like the ranking, and then the international battle is like, okay, everybody gets to now. Like this is the battle for everyone. So it's like it's like regardless of like where like the national champs is like the official title, and then founders is like that big international battle that everyone can like. It's like it doesn't matter where you're from,
Nice.
So,
okay.
It's cool to like give, like, because that's the thing is that now you're bringing in chances for international beatboxers to like like international, like different, like non-American beatboxers to experience American champs and also be able to battle, because it's like why would they go to a national battle if they can't battle? But it's like, well, if they have an international battle, then so
yeah, then they'll come in.
Yeah, right. So
I'm curious. Let's go through each. When you're doing solo, how do you judge that? What's the criteria? Because it's always fishy doing it with art,
Yeah. So I'm gonna break down what judging is right now, and then I'm gonna break down how I judge, because it's completely different. But I will, like, it's the thing is, like, because I usually am given categories. So then this is how they usually do it. It's usually around total like 40 points, and then they'll divide it. So this is for eliminations. So when you're doing eliminations, it'll be like 50 people. We got to get it down to 16 for the brackets. So for eliminations, it'll be like you'll have 4 different categories, and those categories will be usually like what they would say like before. It's like originality, musicality, technicality, and then like it's like they literally say, it's like it's hard to say because it's all different. Literally, it's all, everybody kind
Those
of
are all
has
subjective things.
it's all subjective. So some people have originality, musicality, technicality, flow. Somebody have originality, musicality, technicality, and like it's like cleanliness and flow. It's like that, pretty much that originality. So how original are the sounds? Did you make the sound or improve on the sound or improve on the texture? Because it's like constantly rising.
Yeah.
Like all bass lines get better every year. That's why I like practicing bass lines, because it's one of those, they're endless because it's a vocal technique.
Yeah.
And you can like keep like you can keep bass, like vocal techniques and bass lines get really depthy. They like never stop. Like there's no stopping up. Like you can't there's no like peak of a bass line for me. It's like they just get higher quality and higher quality every year as people do them.
I don't know if you saw the interview that I had with Dr. Blaylock. He watched your video, and it was a great reaction from him. Like, because what you said is kind of, it's interesting that that's immediately what comes across for both me and Dr. Blaylock, is that is something we pick up without actually being told that that's what's happening.
Yeah. It's really interesting because like Like there's so many, there's so many, like everybody has different vocal anatomy, but they have the same tools.
Yeah.
They're just structured different, or they're like, they're used like different. Like for example, women in the scene will try to learn throat bass, and then like I don't know what the science is about like women not, like I think it's Adam's apple or something, but it's like throat bass does not, their throat bass just doesn't sound good. But then
It's
when
the
they go
size
down,
of the larynx and the pieces within it. Male vocal folds are the size of a nickel.
got
Women's
you.
vocal folds are the size of the size of a dime. So
Got you. But then when they grind chest bass, their chest bass, because of their vocal range, since their vocal range is higher res, the chest bass is a fuller sound.
Interesting. Huh.
Because they can do chest bass. Some of the best chest basses I've ever heard are from women.
That's awesome. I love that.
Really sick. It's like they're like, I want to do throw bass. I'm like, why? Your chest bass is different. Like, but they don't. I don't know if they know that's a thing. That's what I've experienced listening to a lot of, like, listening to the female beatboxers in the scene. Like their chest basses are always insane. Always.
I love that.
On some
we need
random
more. We need more space and platforms for female beatboxers. It's been an issue.
So the issue stems from the world champs having different categories for men and women. Now, there's a way to break this down, okay? Because it's like it depends. The way for it to work is women need to unify and kind of make a decision. There's two decisions. There's one decision that they need to make out of two. One, there's a lot of good female beatboxers. Okay, there's a lot, but if we bring them in, it's like the thing is there's some female beatboxers that just want to get on stage. They just want to get on stage. They want stage time. Those female beatboxers tend to just want to be in only female competitions because they can like battle females and it's more comfortable. But then you have the women that are like grinding and they want to be the best they don't want to be the best female beatboxer, they want to be the best beatboxer. And they're like, why am I battling in this female competition? I want to battle the men. Why am I? So you have two scenes in one. So it's like the division is like, in my eyes, you're all in one. You guys are all in I don't care if you're a kid. I don't care if you're 80 years old. I don't care if you're like male, female, whatever. It's all one competition. That's how I feel. You know what I mean? I think anyone can battle anyone. Like I think a 12-year-old can just completely destroy a 40-year-old. Like I think it's a thing, and I think it's possible.
It's interesting because I'm trying to get an interview. We're trying to schedule it with Jolux, and I was thinking to myself, like, this kid is like 15, if that. Like, should I really do this? But like, I don't think about that because when you form a conversation and a connection around not just an art form, but also a competitive one, then it becomes an enthusiasm that's shared and kind of can cross bridges of age and all other sorts of differences.
It doesn't even matter who you are, where you come from. Like anyone can do this. And that's what's crazy is like, there's a lot of times where all the countries are coming together and no, we don't all speak English or we don't all speak the same languages, but we can all hear each other beatbox. It's a language, so that's really what it is, and it comes down to that. I love
that. Yeah. I was almost worried because Dr. Blaylock is not a health professional; he's a linguist. Ultimately, he's a science of linguistics, specializing in beatboxing. So you both sleep. Dr. Blaylock, and now you, unprompted, have described beatboxing as a language and as a means of communicating. Sorry, I got a latency on my mic, and it's like, it's like little latency, you know what I mean? Like I hear myself like a half of a second later. Anyway.
But yeah, it's crazy because there's a lot of times I'll be like in like online and I'll be like jamming with somebody and like, and it's crazy that like I can't, I don't know 20 languages like other people. Like I don't know that many. I don't know many at all. And the thing is like, it's crazy to be able to communicate with people you wouldn't normally be able to. You can communicate with anyone in the scene. It doesn't matter where you come from. Like this guy named Astron from I think Argentina. He's blind and he beatboxes, and he puts out Instagram videos that are the most insane things I've ever heard in my life. It's like, oh my God, what is that?
Yeah.
And it's like, we would never have these, we would never be able to do things like this without this art form. There's people who have like speech impediments and things like this that get rewired because you're practicing phonetics every day.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a magical art form. It's weird.
There's actually,
awesome.
there is some studies being done with, so in music therapy, for whatever reason, those with autism who cannot speak can often sing. And they're looking at some of the effects of beatboxing in similar circumstances. So yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah. It's like with like technique, it gets really interesting when you have like technique practiced and like formulated, because it's like a thought process that's just like constantly running. Like everybody turns ADHD with beatbox at some point. It's kind of because your mind is constantly, it's now a thought process, and your mind is just constantly running now with ideas and ideas and ideas, because you just built these tools that are limitless and you can do it anywhere. So it's just like, if you're beatboxing and you hear beatboxing, you inspire, now it's a thought process in your head. You can just hear beats.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I do
crazy.
the same with opera. I guess the difference, well, I don't know, because like my wife gets annoyed with me with beatboxing too. Like opera is not exactly quiet, but like practicing throat bass, the second I heard throat bass, I was like, oh my God, I gotta make this sound. I don't beatbox terribly well, but I love throat bass and I love beatboxing. So I did figure it out, but while I was figuring out, I was at like a LAN party with my brother and a friend, and they just eventually were like, you need to stop. Because we're playing games for like 16 hours, and I'm like, like playing with vowels and stuff like that.
Sounds
like,
good, though. Sounds good.
That's the only thing I can do, because there are strong parallels with opera and throat bass. And
really,
well,
wow.
Anytime you want to make resonance in beatboxing, the principles overlap. Even with like clucks, it's really cool what people do with clucks and resonance.
Yeah, there's like, it's crazy with like, that's the thing, is like I think I have so many bass lines. Like I have so many, and like I can't even explain them. I don't know how to. I don't know what I'm. I don't have. It's not like I have like. It's like I know the positions, and I know like all. I know like all of the like where I can go, but I don't know the actual like scientific names of like what muscles I'm using or anything like that. It's just a position thing. But
no one does, by the way.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
throughout my throat, I can make a bass in almost like every part of my throat. Like like all the way, it's like the lower you go down your throat, the different the bass gets. You can like change in different variations and different like pressures. You can like, and that's the thing, is like, it's crazy that what is the limit to this? Like, what if 3 or 4, and you can like, can you start combining like positions in your throat, like you know what I mean? It's like, where does it stop?
I almost want to do another interview with Dr. Blaylock where he talks to beatboxers, because these are the exact same questions, and the guy has like MRI video footage, and his whole job and existence is like sitting down with beatboxers and video MRI to try and find out what's going on, because we don't.
I would love to, if he's watching this, I would love to figure out how we can collab in that some way, and I can help give you all the info you need.
Let me
throw out like some MRI stuff with him, like maybe meet up with him and like figure out how, like Maybe I just do all my sound. I've always wanted to just do all my sounds to an MRI machine and just get them recorded,
yeah.
just so that people can study them. It's material, you know, because it's yeah.
I think he's been looking for people. He's West Coast, I think.
Okay, I'm East Coast,
but let's see. Hold on. I have my freaking notes somewhere. Here we go. Okay.
That'd be insane.
Okay. So I guess you've already kind of answered some of this.
Mm-hmm.
What got you into beatboxing other than the fun sounds? Or maybe it is the fun sounds and that's it.
So basically, I watched King of the Dot in like 2010, and I used to watch rap battles. Okay, I watched a lot of rap battles. They were funny. They were just funny. I don't know. My friend showed me and they were really cool because it was just like a bunch of rappers and stuff, and like my friend got me into that, and then I was watching just like a bunch of different ones when I was at home, and I came across King of the Dot beatbox battles, and I was like, what? And then like I heard like Scott Jackson, Korean Effects, Scratch Cat, Spitz. It's like real old, like they're like the star, they're that like King of the Dot type thing, and they bring over beatbox battles. There were like tag teams for the first time, everything like that. And then over time, like I met somebody at school that I rode the bus with, and he could rap and beatbox, and I was like, whoa,
Nice.
dude, this guy's sick. Like he's into the stuff that I'm like into. What? And then he got a world star for rap, and I was like, whoa, like he like did this like cafeteria like freestyle that got like a million views on World Star like a while back, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I was like, what? And he like started popping off, and then he quit beatboxing, and I'm like, wait, the beatboxing thing was crazy. He was like, I was like, what? It was like some funny stuff. He like knew Slizzer. He liked Slizzer. That was Slizzer. Slizzer was his favorite. And I was like, you quitting beatboxing? And he was like he just kind of he did it, but he was really on the rap. And I was like, and I'm just like, wait a minute, like, and I start like really getting into beatboxing because I'm like, what are you missing out on, you know? and and basically like I was listening to it in one of my classes, and then this guy named Nick was behind me, and I was watching King of the Dot beatbox. He goes, wait, he's like, you like beatboxing? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, you know Reeps One? And I'm like, who's that? And and he shows me Reeps One, and I'm like,
yeah. The first time I heard Move, I lost my shit.
That was it. It was
yeah.
Move. It was Move. I was like, and given this is like when I'm in high school, like I'm in ninth grade now. When he showed like I saw beatboxing in like middle school, and I was like, but I didn't like do it. You know what I mean? It's not like I didn't do it. But high school, it was like middle school I was doing a little bit, but high school was when I really like kind of started like really going in. Like not like probably like freshman years when I really like started training, because I met this guy that was like, he was into beatbox, he was into Reese One, and then we would just like listen to beatbox videos all the time. And it was like my friend who was into beatboxing as well. And then over time I just started training and training and training. And then I met through Ben, through the guy that was in like in like at school and stuff. I met Stab by Remix, which is Jordan Reed on Xbox. And through him found the Xbox beatbox scene where I met D-Lo, Frosty, Inertia.
Snap. Right.
So it all kind of birthed us on Xbox, honestly. Like at least
That's
that
awesome.
right? And
I feel bad for just canceling my Xbox Game Pass, but
no, I feel that though. But yeah, like we all met on like we had a like dope thing at Xbox, and then it moved to like Ventrilo and TeamSpeak, and then I just started going live, and like starting 2016 is when I like started doing my first like real live battles. So yeah.
So very social with your experiences. And it's interesting. We were talking about, well, I don't want to frame, you know, online versus in person. Obviously, you know, with some instances, you just like, you know, COVID happened. An online video is interesting because like Maddox, his videography is beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So his videos are bangers.
Yeah.
And it's because he can bring other art forms that he's competent in into one. But I'm hearing, you know, you're smiling, the nostalgia's there. I mean, I have a friend that I met on Ventrilo that we hang out with often. So I can feel that. What was your first opportunity in really, because you were hanging out on Xbox, what happened to get you in person together?
So Midwest 2016 was the first event that was like I was old enough. Well, I wasn't really even old enough. I was like, so basically Midwest 2016 was happening. All my friends were going, and I was like, I really want to go to this event. Blah blah blah. And my parents were like, yeah, I'm sorry, we can't afford it. I'm like, I think I'm like I'm like 15, 16, something like that. And they were like, we can't afford it. And I'm like, and I was like super sad because I was like, this is the only thing that I'm into, like this much, you know. I was like, and then they saw I was like depressed for like 2 weeks because I was like,
so they found out it was real. It was real for you.
It was real, so it turned real, and then my grandma basically, they talked to my grandma about it, and she was like, I'll drive him. And so me and my grandma went to Midwest 2016, and she was chilling. She said, "This is awesome." She thought it was cool. I was like, my grandma just took me to Midwest. This is sick. And I like did my elim. I got in. I got in the battle, won my first battle, and then I lost the next battle. But like, I'll take
That's
it.
Still awesome.
First event. So, and that's when I met Inertia for the first time, like in person, and that's like my guy. And I met like a lot of different people, it's just a lot of good times. And over time, it's just like battles just became a timeline. You know, it's like, oh, well, since I did well in that one. What's the next? And they're like, oh, you got champs now. It's like, now it's like now my family's like, oh, he did good. Wow.
Nice.
Like, so yeah.
That's great.
Worked out.
Man. Sleep invited me to something in New York, and I'm West Coast, so I couldn't do it, but I am envious. Like, there's got to be some stuff. Man, I'm socially awkward even at 33, so.
The West Coast needs some, like, the thing is, the West Coast needs some order, and like there aren't really. Wobbles was running the West Coast before, but there's not, like, the West Coast scene just hasn't really like solidified itself yet. But there are a lot of beatboxers there. It just needs like a beatbox, like a top beatboxer there to like really like buckle down and build something over there. Because I'd love if, like, in the future, I'd love if if I get connects for, because I'm running Beatbox Arena. We're going to be doing a lot of live events. It's kind of my big project now, is really organizing events instead of like battling, because I want to get way more events out there, more opportunities and stuff. But it would be dope to like host some big battles in LA and stuff. Like, it would be awesome. LA is huge. You can get some really crazy people at your events if you're running it in LA. Like,
sorry, one moment. People are getting muted that shouldn't be getting muted. And that's the second time it's happened. Let me just adjust Nightbot. So, okay, so one thing to respond to that, organizing events. Currently, there's this rising animosity towards people who produce in the scene. I think the most egregious example that I've seen was the idea that BBU is a money grab. So what are the challenges there for you? Because this is a tough one. I mean, just improving in general is tough. I've done it before. It's very difficult.
Yeah. Can you ask the question again?
Sure.
Yeah. Because I don't know. I guess I couldn't figure out the phrasing.
Sure. My producing is difficult.
Yeah.
Is it made more difficult by the community at this point?
The community hasn't been given a reason not to feel like that.
Interesting.
They're very entitled. They're very entitled to their feelings because of how events have gone in the past.
And obviously, I'm not going to ask you to names. It's
I don't want to put anyone under the dirt, but not every event is perfect by any means, and it's a history of these. It's a history of imperfect events. It's a history of beatboxers trying to learn how to organize events instead of event people organizing events for beatboxers. A beatboxer is trying to take initiative because beatboxing is one of those where you can't, like, it's hard to sell beatboxing until you really see it with your own eyes. Like, it's hard to go, yo, I'm running a beatbox event. Like, they don't take you seriously with just the words until they see it and go, oh, okay, that's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I go up to somebody, I'm like, yeah, I beatbox, and they go, oh, Razel, you know how to do that? I'm like, so it's like, it's one of those where it's like the term beatbox is just outdated, and the world needs to kind of catch up with like what we've been grinding, kind of thing. But over time it'll do that. It's just like the one thing about like the scene is that everybody comes from every culture. You have everyone. So you have people with completely different values, different culture, different different lifestyles, different everything coming into this event, or coming into this like scene, and speaking beatboxing, or speaking a language through their beatboxing. And we all hear these different perspectives and everything, and that's what's like super super beautiful about it. But the thing is there's no unity in like how to be a beatboxer at a beatbox event. There's no rule book. There are no like beatbox laws. It's just kind of like a free for all. There's no like there's not heavy management. There's nothing. Because the thing is like, you can't expect everyone to understand what the rule. You can't expect everyone from every culture in the world, every country, to understand, like, I'm gonna use America as like a social thing, but American like social, problems, social things. Like, we have like the social problems that are like come among like events and stuff. Don't does every country have like these events? Yes, every country has different cultures, so different things happen at different events, type thing. So it's like, there is no universal rule book of how to be a beatboxer, and that's kind of the issue. Is not everyone, we're not unified in thought.
That's interesting. When you say it out loud, it kind of makes sense, because Codfish, anyone who kind of built themselves online, there is massive skepticism. I remember, like, I was listening to Codfish on stream, and someone was like, oh yeah, what, like, that guy, right, is like a money grabber, whatever. I was like, what? Like, dude's sick.
Yeah.
And he actually didn't need to do GBB at all, but he did.
He was at, I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, he was at 1.1 million subscribers when Swiss was at 400K. Yep. If I recall correctly. So
yeah, he brought his clout over from his following, and the response to that should have been more positive. It's difficult to wrap my head around the lack of perspective.
Yeah.
But what you just said is kind of fair.
Yeah.
There's
no order. There's no leaders. There's nobody you can call.
There are people trying, but
yeah, there are. Yeah. There's no leaders. There's no one in the scene that everyone can universally call as a leader. Not one. Not one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where we're at. It's every culture though. You have it's the globe. We're talking about the globe here. we're trying to create a universal social situation for the globe right now. Like, it's not as easy as, you know what I mean, as fixing the beatboxing. We're working with the world.
That's a great point that I didn't even think about.
These are all different people. They're all different.
Yeah, we're building bridges across nationalities, sex. Like, it's a tall ask.
Yeah. It's literally like, it's like you're asking for everything to be perfect fixing beatboxing.
Mm-hmm.
If the world is a different place, if once beatboxing becomes perfect, like in that regard, that everyone gets treated right because we're beatboxers. It doesn't matter where you come from or who you are, blah blah blah. Like, you're here to represent yourself and your country, you know. And that's how I feel about it. Is like, it's like I feel about it. I feel it's like kind of like an Olympics vibe. It's like you have all these different countries that are representing. Like, ooh, what's the style in that country? Because you have your culture, so you have different music you're listening to. Different radio stations, different different parties, different experiences. So,
like, Stromae is going to have a very different beat than Eminem.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Over and like, so in that across the globe, and all the countries have that. So it's like, all the social situations just come from, we're working with everyone at once. We're trying to unify everyone at once, and that's a big feat. Like,
that's a great perspective, because I just didn't think about that way. I was seeing like feelings were being hurt, and it's the challenges I've underestimated, the challenges of bringing people together in that way.
And online, like, we're also talking about online. You got people who watch beatboxing and then they just troll. Like, we're talking about online trolls. Like, they'll just troll. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we got percentage. You know what I mean? We got percentages of everything, but it's like, as long as the live is good, and the scene's taken care of, like, you can create communities with good vibes. You just need to, like, that needs to be like a thought in the forefront.
The in-person thing.
Just like making sure that if you're at a live, if you're organizing like a live event, like, is everyone safe? Is everyone chilling? Is everyone happy? Blah blah blah. Now everyone feels included, so you're not like, everyone has a good experience. You're good. Like, there's a lot of problems that revolve around like different live events, and then people feel some type of way about this and this and this, because it gets really weird. I mean, like, for example, like, if we want to be straight up, like, we're just now getting into contracts.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you say just getting, like, are you talking about like this year?
Like, in the past couple years.
Okay. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. I was like,
no, not just this year. No. But like, just because the thing is, when I started beatboxing, beatbox videos only got like 10,000 views. Okay, we're all chilling. We knew everyone in the scene. We knew everyone. There was not a person I didn't know. Like, we all knew. We were on Ventrilo. I was sitting in Ventrilo and just listening in 2014.
So like 2014, you're on Ventrilo with Dilo. You're not going to talk about like force majeure or like all these little conditionals and stuff like that of contract language.
We're not thinking about nothing, because beatboxing doesn't make money. We're just, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're, over, like, back then, beatboxing doesn't make money. We're trying to make stupid sounds with our mouth.
I mean, it still doesn't make that much money at all.
I mean, there's money in beatbox.
There is, but it's top heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's no systems to make money in beatboxing, but beatboxing makes money. Beatboxing gets views. It makes money.
Yeah.
But beatboxers don't make money.
Well said. And that's, I mean, artists exploitation is difficult, because being an artist is difficult, and that's not always exploitation, but understanding where that line is really difficult to navigate. Like, is this because the producers don't have the money and the sponsorships are giving way less than you anticipated? Or is it, you know, is someone being a shiesty little shit?
Yeah,
so
it just seems to be like okay, there we go, my god. It just seems to be like there's no this basically the channels that are out right now, a lot of them still have small channels. How important reinvesting
hold on one
is.
second. Okay, sorry. We lost the connection for a little bit. Can you repeat what you just said? I'm so sorry.
Oh,
OBS just kind of like took a dump.
Oh no, you're good. Where do I start at?
Boy. Let's go with producers acting like they don't make money.
Yeah. Okay. So like organizers will they still have small channel vibes. It's like the channel doesn't quote unquote make enough to like have any like reinvestment strategies. But in all reality, like if you have reinvestment strategies, that's what's going to really build the channel because if you're reinvesting into artists, the artists are going to build with you. And none of these organizations know that. They're just grabbing shout outs and going, hey, you're getting paid in exposure. We're putting the video together, so we get the profits off the video because we're doing the work.
So it's short-sighted then.
Yeah.
It's people, you're saying that people don't realize what's possible with beatboxing. And I would agree with that. I've heard way too many times, oh, beatboxing needs more representation, needs more views. I'm like, Sorrow versus MB14 has 45 million views last time I checked.
They're trending. There's trending beatbox videos.
Napalms, if you like, you can't roll like this. 18 million. It's in the public consciousness. The difference is that there's a disconnect. I think one, because, and obviously correct me, you know, I might be talking out of my ass, but you know, beatboxing skews young. So it's not like you have a lot of people with big pockets. But you feel, what you're saying is that not just people acting like they're small channels, but also people being perhaps disingenuous or maybe disillusioned with what beatboxing can do and where it can go. Is that a fair?
Pretty much. It's like they don't. A lot of them don't understand how important, like, paying, like, because look, the business model in the beginning was, I have the money to run this event, so if you guys come, like, let's do it. You know, I'm already paying the host and judges, paying a venue. Like, I'm not gonna make any money off of it because beatboxing doesn't get views. I'm just booking an event. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back then, that's what it was. And then people would be like, "Oh my god, a beatbox event!" Like, there are beatbox events, and then they show up, and then they battle, and then there was a cash prize, or sometimes there wasn't. And we'd be like, "Cool," because we got live experience. We were doing it for experience. It was all an experience thing because there was an experience of a beatbox live event. It's just magical. It's super magical, and a lot of people, like, you know, when you get really addicted to beatboxing, you just want to pay for it. But now that beatboxing is there and gets views, there has not been the switch over to the real business model to sustain it. It's still small. It's still everybody come, hey, I booked the venue. But there's money now, so there's nothing changed.
Do you think part of this is becoming a lot more of an issue because there's a generation of beatboxers who are now, you know, turning into adults and have bills to pay, and that changes the conversation tremendously.
Yeah.
So you think
it's like it's one of those where it's like a lot of the young beatboxers are, you know, they're young, so they're like, well, I wouldn't be able to fly on my own. I don't have a passport. I can't like you know, it gets hard to be like a kid in beatbox and like, or like under 18 in beatbox and like trying to make it because, you know, you need your parental guardian. You know, you need your guardian. But when you're on your own, you have the choice to go to any event you want. And if you want that experience to level you up for the next one, you know, you're gonna get it. And the only thing is like, beside the person that I really want to like give a big shout out to is Nexer. Nexer is the one who runs Beatbox Europe. His name's Ivory, but his Beatbox name is Nexer, and he.
How do you spell that? Because I'm ignorant here.
Nexor.
Okay, nice and simple.
Mm-hmm. And he runs Beatbox Europe, and he's one of the few organizers that flies out everybody, pays them, like flies out all the participants and pays them and takes care of them throughout their whole thing. And they like make it's like they fly them out, take care of them food and drink wise, and you make money as far as like everybody gets paid, but you make more as you get through the battle.
So it's room and board and then literally pay.
And it's like you will always break even or make money when you work.
This is something that opera is going backwards, at least in the United States, in this regard. If you go to a young artist program in opera, you are expected to be there for at least a few weeks.
Wait, how long?
A few weeks.
Okay.
And you're like on location, and you're there working every day.
Yeah.
For a stipend of usually $500. So you can't like work a job, and you have to leave your job. So opera has become, at least in the United States, it's much better in Europe because Europe has the infrastructure for it, and public funding.
Funded too. America doesn't really government fund the arts as much as I like at all.
No, I mean a little bit, but comparably not at all.
I think Europe really kills it with the government funding in the arts in general. Like there's a lot of Euro pedals that they get because like the governments are coming out and like, hey, we'll give you a grant to run that. Like you're helping out, like you're building something for the country. Like this is cool.
Yeah,
America.
But it's also, I think that it's interesting because beatboxing is making more money. It has more potential, whereas opera in the United States is not only on the decline. There's so many people who want to make money in the field that we're getting to a point where, we're actually here, you have to now pay to apply to audition in opera.
Wow.
So you pay to apply for the audition and they can reject you. You never get an audition, they keep your money. So yeah. Wow. So, and these are two very extremes, right?
Yeah.
We want, obviously, for everyone to pull off what Nexer does.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to hold it in. I have to use the bathroom. Sorry. Oh my God. I've lost. This is a beatbox battle. My bladder just won. No worries. Can you just talk to chat for a second?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna beatbox and stuff. Let's go. Yeah, what's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? What's up, chat? Your second sound is nutty. Oh, sure.
I feel much better.
Let's go.
Man, so we were on producing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Nixer is doing it well. Does he have sponsorship deals, or is this all from the views?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think maybe sometimes he does, maybe sometimes he doesn't. I think, but he's like always putting it on. Like it's like he always has his system pretty set up, and he be popping it off. He runs Beatbox Europe. He's trying to put it up for the European scene. And yeah, a lot of my inspiration to like run events is because everybody talks about how good his event is, and I wanna have something that people talk about like that here.
Yeah. It's a great thing, and we need it. It's I feel right now, and this is both a good and a bad thing, beatboxing is very much focused on the artist, which is nice. In a way, right?
Yeah.
But I think that contention between, people wanting to be an artist and pragmatic business stuff.
Yeah.
The two don't generally go together.
Yeah, they don't.
As someone who's like, making a significant portion of my income on YouTube, we were talking about your channel. Yeah. And you just like nuked a ton of your videos. And I'm like, I was like, business mind, Yeah. So you're talking about wanting a reset.
Yeah, I got a hard reset. The goal is I'll put all my stuff on Beatbox, like with Beatboxing out, and the whole entire time I had other people mix it.
Okay.
And I put all of those on Spotify, and I'm keeping everything on Spotify. But the videos, a lot of my videos were besides a couple that I did with Q, shout out Q, she did really, really good. But and obviously Headbangers like is just the one that like, I can't, you know what I mean? That's staying up there.
It's magnificent. Yeah. It's really
Thanks,
good.
Joe. The rest of it felt for me, I had no theme to my channel, and I was just using YouTube as like another Spotify, just to make a video to promo my Spotify, so that I could put beatbox tracks out and people could see like the updates of what I was doing and like kind of track my history. But I'm really only using Spotify to track my history, and I look at my YouTube, and through COVID I wasn't filming videos. I was doing it with a green screen, and they were kind of rushed, but it was just because I just wanted to put beatbox, like just my tracks out. I didn't have the like tools to like really get a good video. I didn't have the money. I didn't have like, it's just a lot, it's like not, but now it's like, now my channel's like built enough to where it's like, okay, I'm about to make 4 routines a month. My goal is to like really teach myself how to make like push myself to make material. Cause like I have a thought process that has kind of like endless ideas, and I stopped because I attached to the thought process and stopped making material for a while because I wanted to master the thought process. But then, so now I'm like coming back in to just spam material, and I have a new videographer, I have new editors, new designers, and like I started producing a couple months ago, and I'm like, I need to do my own audio. I need to make sure that I sound how I want it.
It's I don't know. I'm kind of amazed at the parallels. The last like 2 days and the last like 2 months, I've been trying to, my channel is currently a React music enthusiasm channel. And I have to think of 1 or 2 videos of me singing. I've spent 15 years training. Wow. Not like I sang for 15 years. Like, this is what I went to college for. I paid way too much fucking money in lessons. I spent hours and hours and hours doing this. Now, I'm not nearly as good as quite a few people who have put in the same work, but I don't suck.
Let's go.
And, you know, it's tough. I don't know. It's tough to explain that element of creating something artistic.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so like,
yeah.
What are the challenges for you?
So basically, this was the thing. I grew up, my name was Article before. I got big as Article. That was my beatbox name before Vocodah. My name was Article. I was Article when I did Headbangers. I was Article, blah, blah, blah. Now, for the record, I was Article since 2013. When I was 15 years old or 14 years old. I didn't have a good rep because I was a kid. Yeah. Adults were treating me as if I was an adult, and I didn't know any better. And I would do stupid stuff or say stupid stuff, and they would hold me as if I was an adult. And I didn't know. I couldn't really understand why like I was kind of treated that way until I was like, oh, they're literally 10 years older than me. Like 20 years older, or 10, 15 years older than me. And like, we're in the same scene. Of course, they probably feel some type of way. Like they're way more mature than me. And, you know, with that energy, I like over time, it's like, I was Article, and then I kind of felt like during like COVID, I really like took the time to like really sit down, and I was chasing beatbox my whole life. And then I took the time to sit down and really figure out like, okay, what am I doing? Like blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then I kind of found myself kind of matured into like really who I want to be and what I want to do. And Article didn't fit the picture anymore. I wasn't Article.
So you're rebranding.
I rebranded.
Oh, true.
Already done.
I mean, I don't. Everyone here, I think, in the chat knows you as Vocoder.
Yeah.
So mission accomplished.
Yeah, that was 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I'm floored. That's not easy. So, I am, you know, I graduated from conservatory and I started a nonprofit that bombed for reasons. Organizing shit is really hard. Yeah. And I fucked up, and there were a couple of other elements to it. But then the next step was social media, because that was one of our problems. We kept hiring social media people for the nonprofit, and they all sucked at social media. Like, great people, but like none of them knew what a KPI was, a key performance indicator, like had any metrics. And so I learned how to do it. It's not easy to rebrand successfully in 3 years. Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
What did you do?
So basically, here was my strat. Okay. So the first strat was, so basically, I didn't know I wanted to rebrand until I found something. There was something that connected. There's something about Vocodah. The thing about a vocoder is a thing that is a vocoder is a vocoder. When I was using vocoders in producing, when I was playing with vocoders in my loop station, I realized that they add vocal sounds to like synths. They can add vocal sounds to synths. They add vowel sounds. You can like you like you can basically add it. You can humanize synths. And I was like, that's my style. Is, I mean, I feel like I'm a human synth. Like that's how I look at myself, is a vocoder. So I was like, Vocodah was like a spin-off of it, because I want to, my style was EDM, and I was like, this is an EDM type name. And I go, okay, I really like this name. I vibe more with this name. My style is this name. Like, and I go, okay. But
so
and the reason why I did it is because I had Article music on everything, and I couldn't get Article.com because there was a Brazilian hearing aid company named Article, and they had the trademark.
that always sucks. That ended
Yeah.
up being why I changed my name. I was Hobgoblin with a 0, and I can't believe I thought it was so obscure and clever, and I couldn't name myself that anymore because it was getting taken often, and I was confused.
I feel you. And I found, like, with that, I was like, okay, there's only one way. If I rebrand, this is what it is. Can I get Vocoder.com? It's available, okay? What about the Instagram? Available, okay? Twitter, available, okay? Facebook, available, okay? YouTube, available, okay? Discord, available, okay? I got everything, and I was like, dude.
Yeah.
I have the same handle and everything.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean.
So I was like, okay, I'm doing it. I don't give a fuck. I'm pressing play. And then my strat was, okay, now how do I make sure that everybody knows that I switched my name? So my plan is I put something on my story. I go, if you own a meme page, you can't beatbox.
If you own a meme page?
If you own a beatbox meme page, you can't beatbox.
Yeah. Okay. I can believe that.
And I was like, the beatboxers that own a meme page can't beatbox. So
what happened? Some shit, I'm sure.
Now, yeah. So all these meme pages now are making memes about me, right? Oh, article Vocoder. Who's Vocoder?
That's brilliant. Outrage marketing. How old were you when you did this?
This was when I was 19. 20?
How old are you now?
23, almost 24.
So I have had just shy of maybe 7 years more internet than you. And you just blew my fucking mind. Because, like, as you said it, I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. But it's a couple things, too, because there is a sincerity. It came from... And this is the hard thing about branding is it's got to come from the core. It's got to start from the core.
Yeah.
And then all the little strategies and stuff like that become significantly easier, particularly when you're really involved in a community. Yeah. So, and this might be incredibly boring for most of the people in chat, but I can't get enough of this stuff, especially because you didn't rename your videos. You deleted your videos. And that's kind of extraordinary.
Yeah. Yeah. It's because the thing is there is no way to mix beatboxing. There's no right way to mix beatboxing. There's no right way to edit. There's no right way to do graphics. And I have been learning how to get better and better and better at it. I keep the timeline on Spotify, but I want my theme on my YouTube to be perfect. Mm-hmm. I want every video to be as high quality as possible, and that's where I finally have the resources to do what I want to do. Finally have the resources to build exactly how I want to do it, mix it, make it sound exactly how I want, and I have editors that are like that know that get it. It's like I have
difficult position to be in, because I think every artist wants that quality, and maybe only a small percentage actually understand how to like manage people in a project workflow and all that stuff. But even for those who do, it's a very difficult thing to get in that position. So you don't need to tell me about your bank account or anything like that, but how did you solve the financial problem of being an artist? Because it's a very difficult one.
I mean, I'm still in it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm still, we're all living day to day. It's just, it's like, we're all like, we're all working on it. It's less about the financial problem, or it's less about finances, and it's more about what's the building process, who's building what, and who's doing what. Because right now my value is, it's less about, my value right now is my like my social medias and my branding and like my business connections and stuff like that. And the thing is like where I'm trying to go is like when it comes to finances, like I mean I have a part-time job. I do lessons, and I have my organization, and I stream. Like I have a lot of different kind of things. I do like I used to boost League of Legends accounts. Some funny stuff.
Nice.
But like, like it's like everyone's kind of trying to like figuring out how to like, do this. But the real thing is right now I'm like working with my friend Godka. He's been managing my social medias, and he's managing my my organization recently, because he was like, yo, I'm just getting out of like, I'm just getting out of school for like, I got a digital marketing degree and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's awesome. He's like, yo, you need a social media manager? And I was like, no, the scene needs a social media manager. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it, is now is instead of going, yo, you're not working under me, you create a business so I can promo it. I will be a client, but you make a business so I can promo it. So now instead of one person, because the thing is I have a lot of projects, instead of me just owning the projects and hiring people, no, you own your project and I'm a client.
That's a very interesting approach to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you are at this point almost 10 years into being within the beatboxing community.
Yep.
So a lot of what you're talking about,
10 years.
10 years. Yeah, a lot of what you're talking about becomes possible because you are out of your way. You go out of your way to meet people and talk to people. Just for anyone watching, he reached out to me first and said thank you. Like I reacted first, but as far as talking to people and being a social person, Vocoder reached out to me.
Mm-hmm.
So you're socially active. You've been in the community for 10 years. And so you have a pulse. And then on top of that, you're bringing people in. And you're saying, hey, this is a need and you can fill it. So
yeah,
that's a pretty big commitment to beatboxing.
We need resources. We need people that want to do video, want to help. We need editors, we need audio guys, we need them. There's organizations that are craving these resources, and the people in these organizations, like they're like, if freelancers came into beatbox, they'd kill it. Beatboxers need stuff. They're making money now, but they don't know what they want. They don't know what to like get. They don't even, under 20 of them have a distro kit. Under 20 have a distro kit.
You gotta be kidding me.
Call themselves artists.
Just to clarify for people that are watching, DistroKid is a very, very cheap way to distribute your music. You need a distributor. It's always been the case. Just because you're online, there's, God, I think DistroKid like posts like what, like 50 something. It was like 20 before, and now it's even more.
Still 20.
It's still 20 something platforms. No, not the cost, but the platforms distributed to. Last time I checked, it was like 20 something.
And they keep adding more.
Yeah,
like all the time.
Yeah.
So many. Like they just get as they like, once a new platform comes up, it just gets added. Like
that's insane. It's a good deal. 20 a year. And you get all of your distribution handled infinitely.
Yeah.
Like under 20 or not? What?
$20. Under 20. Yeah.
No, I mean like I thought you said under 20 beatboxers.
Under 20 people. I'm saying under 20 people can't spend $20 or like more than a year. Yeah. $20.
The alternative is to spend hours a week manually uploading everything, naming things, giving the descriptions, dealing with the copyright. Like it's a nightmare.
They don't even upload. That's what I'm saying. It's like you have 20 people that upload on Spotify. It's not like everybody's uploading in their no, they're just not. they're just not uploading.
Shake my damn head.
Because people don't, there was not, like, people think that Spotify is, like, people won't listen to beatbox tracks on Spotify.
That's how I do it.
Same. Same. So it's like, what? So it's like, and then, but how many artists, if you see artists that are just like, you might get 16, 17 that pop up. There's no, like, there aren't that many that actually like post and like blah blah blah, because it's like they just don't. These people are in a battle world. They're not building themselves as artists. They're battling.
That is yeah. I can see what you're getting at. It's a very different and difficult shift in mentality. Like
you have to build. If the finance problem gets solved when the beatbox battler wants to actually pull the plug and turn themselves into an artist. That's the financial problem, is that they're not trying to be artists. Mm-hmm. That's where it stems from.
It's difficult even for me. You really do need to define yourself, just like that decision, Vocodah, was more than a rebranding. It was a rebuilding your relationship to beatboxing and the people in it.
Yeah.
And that's how deep it has to come from.
Yeah.
And I'm at a loss in my own artistic journey, which we don't have to talk too much about. But I think that I've overcomplicated it. I just got to push it out there and make shit. Yeah. Bam, bam, bam. Grind it out.
Do. Yep. Kenny says do.
Yep.
Just do.
I made a Bach chorale. I recorded a Bach chorale this morning, and I felt really cool and hip and rebellious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bach chorale.
Just do.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is it takes a lot of, energy and vulnerability to put yourself out there like that. And it takes a lot of, like, I want to show who I am and what I am in this. And it takes a lot of, like, setting aside and going, what do I want to show? And, you got to be really secure in yourself to be putting yourself out there and things like that. It takes a lot of energy and stuff. Also people are, like, making rounds, but they don't, like, it's like, oh, I don't want to upload battle rounds as my tracks. It's like, they're tracks though. Like,
yeah,
it's like, I want to make, I want to upload. If I'm uploading, it's going to be normal music. I'm like, I feel you, but like, you can do both. Like, I'm going to do both.
Yeah.
I'm going to transition to EDM tracks like very soon.
Yeah. This is funny. I actually have a student who, he's an old gentleman and has a little bit of a shake in his hand. Mm-hmm. So, and he wants to produce. That's what he wants to do. He wants to be a recording artist. And so I was like, you need the ability to input MIDI quickly, and your hands will prevent you from doing that. So learn to beatbox, because you can translate beatboxing into MIDI now with doubler. And
yeah, it's crazy.
Dude, he's gotten good. Like, he's really? Like 50, 60 years old, just picked it up, and like he was recording every day, and it would annoy the crap out of him that his K snare was not on time.
Oh no.
So he just like with a metronome to his own tracks, and it worked.
Perfect.
There's like a lot of
that's the utility. Thing in beatbox. He has a lot of wisdom, because that is the first thing you master. Is the snare. The snare is everything. The snare is the backbone. You can mess with everything else, and if the snare hits, it's still a beat.
Yeah. That's
some beatbox wisdom right there.
Right there. Dropping it like it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I have a lot of questions for you about bass lines.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would be crazy to, like, maybe I could, like, hold them out. I don't know if do you think if I were to hold out different bass lines, you could, like, you could tell what, or could you tell what I'm like? Can you hear the technicalities of my throat if I hold one out? Like, I know that's a hard question.
I would be disingenuous if I said yes, because we, from the like medical scientific point of view, we really don't know enough. So wow. There's
so crazy though.
Yeah, there's a pragmatic. So it's weird because I had this is exact conversation I had with Dr. Blaylock. Like, there is a legitimate need for artists to be able to discuss and define techniques absent the science.
Yeah.
So, you know, when people say, oh, it's the epiglottis that makes throat bass.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe? But like, God. I don't tell people maybe. I say, if you want to do it, lower your tongue a little bit, which lowers the epiglottis, and then, you know, and that's your false folds, because it creates an image. But that is not, we do not know whether or not that's the case.
Because, for example, people just think inward bass is inward bass. Like, inward bass is one sound. No, I have three. There's three.
Yeah, those are very different.
There's three. One is just through, it's like through my nose. Which is like, it's more, it's just in my, it's just the normal inward. If you were to just breathe in, that's normal inward bass. And then you hollow your throat with that one, you get.
It's almost like a gag reflex.
So it's like the that type thing. You know how you have like the you like tensing your voice, but it's inward.
Oh.
So it's that same pressure, but you're doing it inward. So okay. That's hollow.
This is fun because it's a guessing game for me. So what you're talking about, the contraction, I think that you're talking about is the area epiglottic sphincter. Total random guess. I have no idea if that's actually it, but that to me would make sense. What you're describing.
It's the same as.
Yes. Yep. Like was it vibration bass, right? Same thing.
This one's so this one's vocalized chest bass.
Okay.
Same. That's the same. That's the that's inward and outward of the hollow. Hollowing it. So that's hollow inward, and then now this one doesn't make any sense. I don't know about this.
I love that. And I don't know what the fuck this one is. Yeah, but I find that refreshing because we're too ready in the community to define the mechanics of a sound. Yeah. If a fucking scientist comes on here and says he doesn't know, and then you comment, well, actually, I don't know how to help you, man. He has a PhD and like, he's a literal fucking scientist. I couldn't believe the comment section, but yeah, you know, like that you can't assert that, oh, it is the epiglottis, but practically when communicating these sounds, you have to have a vernacular. You have to be able to talk about them.
Yeah. So we can teach each other, but it's like we have weird terms, you know. We got weird terms that don't connect with like the science as much. It's just like, yo, you do this to change the sound, and then it gets this, and it's because of this, and it's like then like and everything like that, and that's just pretty much it. It's just like do this to do this with the sound.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I mean, it happens all the time with singing education as well.
And that's the thing is like we, you know, for example, like polyphonic voice, okay? Like high poly. It's a chord.
Yep.
If you have high poly, high poly is all high poly is you're taking a falsetto. You're taking probably your most natural falsetto note, and then you're whispering under it. So. And then you put this faint whisper under it, and you can. And you can get 2 tones.
So this is where my understanding becomes an obstacle. And this is why I think it's important for people who want to be artists to side on the pragmatic end of things and to not apologize for that. So
yeah.
Falsetto is a whisper.
Oh, okay.
The function is the same, but thinking that way, what is this? That's my wife. But thinking that way doesn't get me there. Give me 1 second.
Got you. I guess you're whispering in your chest voice, but you're singing in your falsetto. That's the best way to say it. Oh, no worries.
So yeah.
Wait, are you muted?
Was that no? Oh, right. Sorry. There we go.
Hey, let's go.
So yeah, I wouldn't worry about justifying how you think about it, because how you think about it clearly has utility. So
yeah, so it's
like you got to be pragmatic about it.
Falsetto on the top and then chest voice whisper. That's the best way to explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
like it's. I don't want to get into it about like, because I don't. You have an explanation that works, and I imagine there are a lot of people who would hear that and be like, okay. And I would say that that's the overwhelming majority of people. Singing education is usually like a regurgitation of tradition.
Yeah.
And, you know, that never worked for me because I'm anal retentive asshole. I needed a logical framework that was consistent.
Yeah.
Because I would always change things and fuck with stuff.
Yeah.
You know, people like chest voice, head voice, turning. Like, what the fuck is this shit? And then I found the voice and speech pathologist and learned about Estel. But even then, Estel, the method is named after a researcher. I think Estel did most of her academic writings in the 90s, I want to say. And she thought she observed the cricoid cartilage is the base of your larynx. It's the cartilage at the very base. And she thought that it would tilt, and in tilting, it would bring the folds closer together and fatter, which creates belting. She was right about the folds, but the cricoid cartilage doesn't have a muscle to contract.
Oh, wow.
So like on a video, I'm like, oh, she's belting and this is how she's doing it. But I don't have the time to explain, well, we don't know if it's the thyroid cartilage going back. Like, it's not pragmatic, right? It's just, people need the image, and it's interesting.
Yeah, because like how we like will break it down in beatboxing. Like, we've never ever used any scientific terms. We're just like, oh yeah, you put this on this, and then we're like, huh? And then
I think you guys don't have the opportunity.
We haven't. There hasn't been any defining. It's just been us figuring out how to explain it. It's like, how do you do the sound? It's like,
I have to put you in touch with Dr. Blaylock.
You know, it's like,
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that is the next level of beatbox, is really going, yo, what are the mechanics of the sound in the mouth? Like, because you can make, the craziest thing about beatboxing is, my thing that I really like is, check it out, beats like, the thing about this type of beat, I can do lip and tongue sounds while I'm doing vocal sounds.
The coordination is preposterous. Like,
thanks,
you know, like I've studied singing for 15 years. I've been singing my whole life, but I trained for 15 years. And there's only so many ways that you can sing over an orchestra, right? There's like a handful of ways that you can do that. And some have longevity and some don't.
Yeah.
So to hear all of this crazy, it's amazing. Sound banking artistically has some problems, but the creativity and inventiveness, like you're saying, you're thinking about, okay, this is vocalized, which means I have an opportunity to use these articulators, lips, teeth, tip of the tongue, to make other sounds simultaneously. And then, like, people are doing a lot of whistle stuff in their, like, throat whistle. It's crazy. The creativity is madness.
For example, like if I start out with, okay, so here's the level up of like probably one of my most special sounds. Okay, I haven't even named it because I don't name sounds. I don't like. I just make it, and people are like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Yeah, just the right answer, really.
Right, but like, so for example, like one of my most like my like basically the Vocoder sound is, I'll do inward, and then I vocalize. So I'm vocalizing the inward up. Then I realize it gives the like a dirty texture. It's like, it's not like, it doesn't sound, I don't know, it doesn't like make my ears bubble. It doesn't, I don't know. Like I've spammed it and it just like didn't make me feel good. And then I like, over time I was like, why? I was like, I kept listening to it, I was like, I don't like the high end. It's like, why does the vocalization sound horrible? But then I realized, I was like, okay, let me think about it. What if I'm like, the vocalization sounds horrible because do I suck at singing? Okay, maybe. But like, let's try it. Like, what if I do it more? What if I need to sing on it? Because singing would sound better than like, it's not vocalizing, I need to sing it. Then I realized I started at the singing note, and then instead of going inward bass and up, I started at inward falsetto and then found inward down. So instead of going, I go.
Okay.
So I can put basically your root note, your root position can basically is the forefront, is the root of how the sound gets created, and then where you take it can create that texture of like a combo. So I start at, and then I go down to inward, and it sounds like.
So this is my swing at this. Forcibly lowering your larynx is not ergonomic and tends to have a really brutish sound, and not a great high end. So when you said that you went to falsetto down, that's a very kind of like traditional way of thinking about singing, but there's so many ways to do it. But like sopranos are almost exclusively taught head voice, and then they actually, some of them have a problem creating a very robust low end, whereas tenors and baritones and basses in opera are encouraged to bring a lot of that weight up. And there's this very delicate balance. You need basically to let your larynx do its thing.
Yeah.
And that means you need to address tension And what I think happened with you is that you're like, oh, let me go up, and then the root of your tongue, the heel of the tongue, actually went up with. Because if you lower the root of the tongue, oh my God, I'm probably going to blast my voice trying to demonstrate this in the high end, but that's what it is. Apologize, this is going to be loud. So if I were to do that, this is going to be really uncomfortable. I'm going to like forcibly lower my larynx. Yeah, I hate that sound. I hate it. It's fine. Yeah. It feels comfortable. I hate it. I much prefer. Hold on. Like all that crap. Yeah. And I much prefer that. I think it's a much better sound.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
But yeah, it's like
similar. It's like similar technique, but texture. It's like you found a different texture inside a technique. Is that like kind of
the consequence of, in order to lower the larynx in the first example, I slammed my tongue downward to force it.
Oh.
And that has consequences. The soft palate will droop. You're muffling the higher notes because you're literally obstructing the sound that comes out of your mouth. You're like shoving your tongue back. So you're missing a lot of the high end. And
I'm just beats now, like I'm just thinking, like, okay, for example, like using both. And that's just the two, that's literally just that throat there, that position change is creating the different resonant, which is, that's great. It's crazy how you say it, because it is muffling the high end.
Yeah.
That position. Wow.
It's I love this shit. Like as I was doing as I was doing that higher note, because I haven't warmed up, I was like a little squirrely, and I was like, oh, I need to contract the area epiglottic sphincter, which is that little bit of squeeze that people describe. That's the area epiglottic sphincter. So, which I think is the difference between vibration and regular throat bass. You still with me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm
awesome.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, like it's tough because I have back tension. That brightening is the contraction of the AS, which is fundamental. That is how tenors sing over an orchestra. That is the technique you need to do that. So it's cool.
Wow.
I don't have any conclusion. I just think it's neat.
You know, another. Do you know chest bass? So chest bass is like, so you have your so that's throat bass. It's more, throat basses kind of has that, like, it's like the cough, like, you have that, but then you have, like, when you like, when you like shrug, like something's annoying, you're just like, right, like that, like when if you press, like the shrugging sound, if you pressure that through your nose, it's just like, right, but if you push, that's chest bass. So, and that's just found the
air difference.
So
is oh boy.
Yeah, and you could use like you full sent it too. That's why. It's because you like your outward is so trained, like, of just singing your outward breath. You just like could full send it without.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, it's that is what happened. Was too much hair.
I've like never seen that. Somebody's like outward breathing is so refined, and then like a new bass line. I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
oh yeah. The coordination for my exhale while singing is very, very, very specific.
Yeah, it's so refined. and then you trying like you like putting like such a refined such a refined breath into like a bass line, dude, that like I felt that.
I mean, like, I love that, you know, these are wildly different techniques.
Yeah. And
it's a different world.
So boom, you got, that's basically Reap's one style. So I'm not bringing down my throat bass, I'm just using chest bass.
Mhm.
Now you got two of those, and then the thing about chest bass that I really like. See, throat bass doesn't. The thing about throat bass is it's the most singing technique.
Yeah.
It's the most
yes.
singing, the sing bass. You know,
so which is why I like it. It's easy awesome. For me.
For real, I love it. I love it because you can really get musical how you want. Like you can go in between throat bass and vocal. The thing about chest bass is, since it's in your nose, you still can like, you can vocalize it. That's mine. So I'm breathing on just a bass. It's like, I know a lot of things. It's like you have with a bass line, it's like you have the position, and then you have and then it's like, can you vocalize it? Most of them you can. Most of them you can. So like if I go, so for my inwards, like that one hurts, but like that's the one. Yeah. It's like they're all able to be vocalized, at least inward. Outward's a little weirder. I think it's really just chest bass that can be and vocalized chest bass. Whatever the muscle, whatever the mechanic is for chest bass, can also, you can vocalize it. So anything that involves chest bass, you can vocalize.
That's so. What was interesting to me was on YouTube is telling me to insert an ad, and I have no idea what that means, but it says money. What boggles my mind? So what you're talking about is a nasal continuant, basically an NG.
Yeah.
Right, the sound and right, anything that goes through the nose, a nasal continuant. So you're making these crazy bass sounds, and you're vocalizing them. Now, the interesting thing is that nasal continuants can accept more breath pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. So the longer, usually the longer you hold the sound, the more high quality the sound gets. Yeah. Like the longer you hold the sound, you can like, if you put a whole like breath into a sound, the end of it is the highest quality. You see how it's still going?
Yes.
It's still, like, it's still, the texture is getting crazier because I'm exhaling all my whole breath into it. You know, and that, it's like I'm going inward and then outward. Is inward. And then so inward, I breathe in, and then I got a whole breath to go outward. So that whole breath I breathe in, and then the texture of the vocalizations and the texture of the bass line gets more depthy the more air you put in. Like, yeah. So same thing that you said.
So, sorry, there's some questions in the chat. I want to get to. That's not throat bass? ? What? We don't in the beatboxing community do a good job qualifying what these things are. So if it is useful to you to call it throat bass, go for it. Be utilitarian. But sorry, you had something to say on that.
I would say all throat basses, like, okay, all the basses come from the throat. There's a lot of stupid names, all right? Let's be real. The names are not, but in beatboxing, like, I'm gonna do all my bass lines, okay? Throat bass, chest bass, okay? Vocalized chest bass, And then you got, so now you're getting into vibration. So vibration is a combination of and you get
Wow.
it's in between.
I can tell that you teach.
Wait, what?
I can tell that you teach because you're trying to communicate actionable things to people who are watching right now.
Yeah.
And so we need more of that because like I said, like we don't know what happens. We don't know. Like, so to actually segue to one of the questions, do you think that throat bass should be considered a separate register? Registers are a precarious definition anyway. There is no like chest register versus head. Well, it's kind of garbage. Like
all bass lines, throat bass is dependent on your vocal and on your voice. You like the high, like your voice is what is the root of your throat bass. So however your voice sounds is how your throat bass is going to start. And then like your register is your vocal range. Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
Like your vocal range is your I guess register, if that makes sense. Like that's the vocal range that you normally have is your vocal range for throat bass. Other sounds, that's not the case.
Yeah, I have a hard time bringing my throat bass up.
See, the thing about throat bass is like, you know, the throat bass is weird. You don't want it to go up. You want to like, you kind of want it as relaxed as chest bass, because the texture, like, you don't want that.
I mean, you and I don't want it, but maybe someone finds a use for that. It's funny because this is a discussion about aesthetics as well. So that's very similar to there's a video online where the BBC tries to understand bel canto, and they bring 3 famous opera singers, and Pavarotti does a demonstration. And this is one of my favorite moments in a video ever. He goes, so G major. No, and he's like, but why? It's not elegant. Do this, and then no, right?
Yeah.
And very different sound. Yeah. And then he's like, just that difference, 10 years. And it took me 10 years because it's like, it's so fucking different.
Yeah.
It's a very, very difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
But it evens out your register. So if I do that and then I go up higher, it sounds more similar than it would if I just went brighter. And then it's a weird disconnect sonically.
Got you. And that could probably like all vocal techniques can probably be applied to throat bass. It's like anything. It's like throat bass is just like throat bass is just an extension of singing. That's how I look at it. Is like everything you can do in singing, you can do throat bass. It's just a little, it's a little harder. Like like you know, like if you do voice crack, the same thing. It's the same kind of thing. Like you see how it's just another right, like so then like that's where like shout out River, he be making like crazy arpeggios, and you can like that's kind of where it's at with like beatbox now. Is like back then we only knew throw bass and some people had chest bass and that was about it, and that was it. And now
love that arpeggios are becoming more common because harmony is a great tool for differentiating music. And like, that's why I think I related so much to Gene and his artistic sentiments, because like, especially with, oh my God, the one he just released recently where he goes, like, the brilliant thing with Gene, he overcomes some vocal obstacles using different sounds. And lip articulations in the same way that, like, when what's called covering an opera, you have to poop. You have to poop. You just want poop. No, you just want attention. You look like you gotta poop. Is this a poop time? No. My wife is coming home soon, so she'll be better. But what's going on about? Right. So covering in opera is that like darkening of the tone in a very specific range. For me, it depends on the kind of tenor. For me, it's F, F sharp, G, and then there's this little transition that happens at G sharp, A flat. And the way that beatboxers, and specifically Gene, kind of like have answers for those difficulties is like, it's just shit. Like, what? Like,
For real.
Like,
it's like, as everybody Beatbox has done the same thing. They're like the same style, the same, the same sort of sounds. Like at least the top ones have like built a sound set. That's what I say for like a lot of new beatboxers. If you really want to get big in beatboxing, it's not about what you know. It's about how well do you know what you do. It's not about how much you know. It's about how well do you know your stuff. Because like
that's my wife again.
Wait, what'd you say?
My wife.
Okay, no worries. Yo, Jelix. Eyes wide shut. I'm bleeding through the blindfold. I try to rest the feeling, but with the time go, I try to hide the time up. What do I know? When it takes time to make your mind go. Eyes wide shut. I'm bleeding through the blindfold. I try to rest the feeling up. Where the time go, I put up the blind. So it takes time to make your mind. Eyes wide put. I'm bleeding through the blindfold. I put the rest of them up. Where the blind go up, I put the blind. Put up, so it takes time to make your mind.
That just makes me happy. I gotta tell you, doing streaming and interviews with beatboxers is so great, because as I have to step away, I have a family, I have a dog, and you guys just like, yeah, I got this, and then you do some crazy shit, and everyone's like, yeah. We got some questions for you. I wanted to answer one question, Jolux, about your voice growing. The vocal folds are similar to the nose. They don't stop growing. And most people, as they age, their sound gets bigger and deeper. For me, I felt like I was an awkward, weird, like I couldn't do many things. And then I hit 25 and I was like, oh, oh, this shit's easy now. So yeah. What's your current favorite sound, Vocodah?
Hi, Polly.
Polly.
I want to be able to know, like, hit. I want to be able to hit, like, I want to be able to, like, train myself to where I can make the whisper a different tone than the top layer. Like, be able to, like, do, like major and minor chords with the same sound.
You know who's a great example of that? And I think like, honestly, I would like to see her referenced more is Layla Hathaway. Like I keep bringing her up because there's a performance where she has a jazz band, and you know, jazz, you're working in and out of harmony and arpeggios and runs and all that stuff, and she does that, and the scatting's brilliant. But then it gets to a point where she, you know, polyphonic singing harmonizes with the chords that are being played, and then changes. Like she doesn't just like one harmony. It's like like she starts moving and fucking does counterpoint. Like,
yeah, I know. I can. The craziest thing about Polly is like there's an into the sound and then there's an out of the sound.
Your expression is the same one that I have when you're like checking into your body and you're like, is this, you know, the body is different every day, so you kind of like have to be hyper attentive.
Yeah.
You know, like
especially with high poly, like for beatboxers that just throwing some beatbox gems in here because it's fun. I love like throwing these everywhere. It's podcast and shit. If you want to learn vibration, it's the same. Or if you want to learn poly, it's the same way as vibration. Okay, it's you basically have two sounds, and you're hitting that perfect point in the middle.
I gotta let my dog out. Sorry.
Okay. No, you.
Continue. I will be right back.
Yeah, with that, like you're only hitting middle ground where that thing's going. I so far there's only two sounds that I have that like I that uses this, but with that's one, and then you have so you're holding out a whisper and just putting falsetto in, but
she just wanted attention.
Yeah.
I swear, from her perspective, it must be super fucking weird to watch like her human just like in front of a fucking couple lights making sounds for hours.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be fucking weird for a dog.
Yeah. I know. I'll just like go off nowhere like my dog will be like
That's
so good.
That's a video right there.
For real.
Dogs and beatboxers.
For real. I know D-Lo has one beatboxing for a cat.
Yeah. I love that video. It's a good one.
Classic. But yeah, like it's really interesting. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I wanna there's a couple more bass lines. So wait, I did throw bass, chest bass, vocalized chest bass, I did vibration bass. Wait, no, sorry, I did throw bass, chest bass. Okay, and then I did so now there's two sounds that are called vocalized chest bass. And well, actually, I guess it's chest bass and then high chest bass, but it's you vocalize it. So it's like what? It's chest bass, high chest bass, and then vocalized chest bass. So high chest bass is, and then vocalized chest bass is,
I was gonna say that is actually something that got brought up, was a lot of the techniques mimic growling, which a lot of growling, because you lower your tongue when you growl to lower the epiglottis. And so if you growl a lot, you do sound like, oh my God, I always forget his name. I see skies.
Yeah.
What a wonderful world. Yeah. I love that.
He's just vocalized chest basing it out.
Yep. Yep, that's exactly what he's doing. You excited about weird sounds, Anya? Is that what this is? Is that what this is?
Dude,
She wants to play it. Play it?
And then I think the last one is evil bass.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Based on it, it's like up here. You're testing up, like right here. It's actually on top. It's over your Adam's apple.
That could be a couple things.
So it's
could be the false
like right
folds. The arytenoid. No, it wouldn't be the arytenoids. False fold AES. Probably the false folds, I would imagine. Oh God. Fuck if I know. Sounds cool.
Yeah, so that's evil bass, and that one can get really crazy. But I suck at it. I don't really practice that one because like the process is annoying. It's like how it sounds now. It's like I don't even want to listen to it type thing. It's like I don't even. But it can get crazy. That was a crazy one.
I like the general kind of advice that you're giving, intentionally or not. I really like it because what you're saying is you really developed something for you. Because I think what happens oftentimes is that people chase new sounds. There's nothing wrong with that. But there is a point where sound banking is not good for you as an artist, as a musician. Like, it's not people.
Sound banking just turns into like noise. It's just like and unrefined noise because you're branding yourself as a sound bank, so you're not theming anything. So your theme isn't building quality, and now you're building quantity, and quantity doesn't build quality. So you're like sitting in a box of like quality. You're sitting in a quality, like your quality can only get up to here because you're not letting anything like surpass like just good.
Yeah. When
like, everything's infinite.
When Dr. Blaylock watched Headbangers. That was one of his observations. Excuse me. There was a lot of what was going on was just variations of a fundamental sound. Excuse me. Hiccups.
Yeah.
And then, I relate to that because, I get a lot of folks, I think, want to see me learn beatboxing. And I would love to, but I don't even have a lot of time to sing. And that's one of those things where it's like, that's what I've worked on. And
I got you on the beatbox. I'll teach you off stream. You just need, it's like 2 or 3 things. It's a thought process, and then you're chilling. Like it's not that hard.
I want to make.
Nobody has it broken down though. Besides,
there was something. I'm so glad I remembered. My wife's going to be home any minute, so I have to go. But I code. And specifically, I code in Python. And I've made music video scripts based on using the RC505 as an input. Wow. So in combination, so what I'll do is I'll hit record on OBS, and then, I have to stay quiet, and then I start, the metronome, and then I'll drop whatever. And what the script will do is it will find the beginning of the sound, and it will operate that like that. And then I just give it like, there are this many bars at this tempo, right? And which is all clearly on the RC505. So, and I've been making music videos like that for a while, like just here and there. And you were telling me, like you were saying that your friend who's a social media person came in and you're like, no, you should do this, and you were saying that people need video editors. And I'm not sure, the workflow is so specific that I have no idea if other people are going to be like, yeah, I'll do that. Because it's a very specific workflow. But you can get those video music videos, so kind of like the one that Dan did, very quickly with this.
Oh, wow.
And so it'd be cool even if we could do like some mad scientist shit.
Let me see.
Because
love that.
Yeah.
You know AI? I mean, Python. Okay.
Python is good for machine learning, but machine learning is over. People are a little over enthusiastic about it because
they act like the outcome is gonna like just like turn into a perfect thing, but no, you still have to guide it, like, and it needs to have the right input, and like if you don't have the right input, you're not gonna get the right output.
And the amount of input, and then the variety of it, like exactly. They made a forget if it was MIT or something. They made a StarCraft 2 bot to play StarCraft 2 with the permission from Blizzard to put it on the ladder. And the amount of work it took to get it to be able to beat professional players was a matter of years. Similar to like how a person would need a number of years. The human mind is incredible. And I think that machine learning is very powerful and it can do a lot, but it is not a replacement
it's a tool.
There's no it's bad at aesthetic decision making. Super bad at it.
Super bad at it. The craziest thing about beatboxing, maybe, and it's the one that is really it's the one that is the biggest phenomenon for me, is we're all connected to a collective conscious. We all get to pick from the same place. We're all picking from the same place. We're building there's coincidences where people learn new sounds at the same time, like from completely different parts of the world, different sound, same sound, different time, like exact moment they found it. It's like since we're all human and everything, and we're all conscious beings, beatboxing is a reflection of your thoughts and how much you can tap into the collective conscious. It's a combination.
On that very deep and poignant note, I have to go to the bus stop to help my wife with her luggage.
Big fact.
Thank you so much for coming on, man. We'll catch up. This is a lot of really great stuff. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, man.
All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, it was fun,
Yeah, man. That was great. Sorry, I had you on speaker.